It's not often that you'll see a clear workbench at Tiny House and Off-Grid Resources. That's because today is the day that my new plasma cutter arrives. Did I really just break these? I know that it's only 30 amp, and I know that it's not from a particularly reputable welding supplier, but for the price, $199, it's pretty hard to resist. I've wanted one for a long time. So let's crack it open and find out what you get when you buy the cheapest plasma cutter available in New Zealand. Right, instruction manual. We won't be needing that. Nicely packaged. I do like to see it packaged in cardboard instead of expanded polystyrene. Oh, no, we've got goodies in there. That's actually a box, and here's the expanded polystyrene. It's not particularly heavy. It's larger than I expected. I was thinking that it was going to be one of those super compact ones, being just a 30 amp one. Little bags of silica gel, I always keep those because they can be put into your drawers and your toolboxes of things that don't get used a lot, and it keeps the moisture from sending tools rusty. So check for any more. We've got 3 of those. I'll put those in a safe place. Nice heavy duty power lead with a 15 amp plug, 6 feet long, 1.8 meters. Now this one has a built-in air dryer and air regulator, which is great because it means you don't have to put it on the back. It appears that all the sockets are on the front. No, the air comes in the back. So what's this here? That's your air outlet. This is where the gun attaches. This is where the controls for the switch on the gun attach. And this is where your ground lead. I won't call it earth because plasma doesn't operate with a positive gun. Plasma operates with a negative gun, and your earth is actually positive. So we won't call it the negative lead, we'll call it the earth lead, or the grounding lead. Something that always irritates me about products made out of Chinesium is that often the case is super thin. Not in this case. It's a nice strong case, good louvers, decent quality screws. I do like how that it's got not just feet but protecting blocks all the way around on the corners, so if it's pushed into a corner of your truck or pushed up onto a shelf, other things aren't going to scratch it. And it also means that you'll end up with breathability through these vents here. One of the irritating things about products made in China is that quite often the labelling on the fascias isn't attached perfectly, and you'll find that it's not concentric around holes, or there's a little bit of this business going on. But this one appears to be very tidy. No air bubbles. Everything fits nicely. The controls have a nice feel. Right. Let's have a look in the wee box here and see what we get with the gun. I'm hoping to find enough consumables to get me through the day. Here's a nice surprise. I didn't expect to get some welding goggles with it. So they're pretty steampunky. They're pretty hard plastic and not going to be comfortable on the face, but they can be... Did I just break them? Did I really just break these? That's actually pretty nasty. These are going to go back in the bag and go on the shelf just in case I get any spectators who want to watch sometime. They can wear these. I won't be using it. Nice long grounding lead and a reasonably good, reasonably good grounding clamp on here. I'm going to check this with a magnet to see if it actually is copper. Yes, it is. But I have a feeling that these parts are actually copper plated steel because they feel magnetic. Yeah. But that is actual genuine copper. It's a cheeky thing that they do in China. Instead of providing items that are solid copper for conductivity, they'll just copper plate things. You got to watch them. Okay, that is about, I would say, half quality. It's not complete rubbish, but it's not good quality. It will last a year or so, and then I'll replace that with something decent. Let's see how long this is, because often I'll be working out here in the middle of the floor and I'll need a decent length lead. That is a 3-meter earth lead, 10 feet. That's ample. I'm going to have no problems with that. Now here's a little bag of consumables. Let's open it up and see what you get. We've got 2 contact tips, 2 electrodes. These are nickel plated. It doesn't matter a jot whether they're raw copper or nickel plated. It's just that some manufacturers do it one way, some do it the other. There's nothing better about one or the other. Now these electrodes are reversible, so you've got in effect 4 electrodes, 2 extended contact tips, 1 ceramic shroud, and 1 spare swirl ring. I can't remember the name of this model of gun, but they're gorgeous. It's got the ball swivel on the end to make it just that little bit nicer to use. It's got a very lightweight, easy to use ergonomic on-off switch, which I do like. And it's overall slim, lightweight, and rather nice. I'm looking forward to using this. There are 2 types of plasma handpiece. There is this type and the other type. This type is the budget kind of handpiece that you'll get on anything that's low cost, like this one. The nicer ones, the more upmarket, larger power ones, 50 and 60 amp, have what's called a pilot arc handpiece. And a pilot arc handpiece, when you press the trigger, whether it's anywhere near the workpiece or not, it will start to create the plasma jet, so that you can start on rusty steel, painted steel. It's better for blowing holes starting in the middle of a sheet. They're better on thick steel, but they do cost more. So I'm quite happy with what I've got here. Most of the work I'm going to be doing is going to be on sheet steel, which is up to 1.6 millimeters thick, 16 gauge, and then I'll be working on LPG gas bottles because I make a lot of custom bespoke wood fires. Okay, what I have here is a 6 millimeter piece of spring steel from a trailer spring. And I've set up the plasma cutter on a shelf up here so it's away from the dust and any chance of getting damaged. I've plugged the air in. The air is already running through a dryer and into its own regulator. Then it comes to a second regulator here, which I presume has also got a dryer inside, because hey, I'm not one for checking the instruction manuals. We'll do that when something goes wrong. But what I'm going to do first of all is ensure that it's set to its highest power, turn the thing on, and I'm going to do the first cut on something nice and heavy that should be at the limit of this unit's capability. So I'll put you down on the bench here. Well, it's a nice clean cut. Any of the wobbliness was just down to pure operator error. So I'll grab a straight edge and we'll do another cut and see how it looks. Check the consumables, make sure the tip's fine. Okay, the tip's looking as good as when I first started. And this time I'm going to draw towards me instead of pushing away and see if I get a tidier cut. Have a little investigate of that. So a nice looking cut. Now this stuff is painted both sides, so it's going to be a challenge. I'll have to start on the edge. They do recommend bearing up a place to start, so I'll do that. I'll reduce the power down to about 15 amps, halfway. Must remember I've also got to buzz a little area for the first pump to go. Here we go. Oh, I love this. I'll just try a blow through, see what we get. Oh, yep, it will do it. Right, enough mucking about. If this thing is going to live here, it's going to have to work as hard as I do. So this is its first real job. This is an old 2 horsepower compressor that has stuffed its gubbinses on the top here, but the tank and the handle and the wheels are all still working, so I've got a project for it. I'm going to turn this into a wood-fired brazier and barbecue. First thing I'm going to do is cut an oval hole in the side so that we can feed the firewood in. And the first thing I'll need to do is cut along here. I'm really happy with this. Take a look. The focus. The finish is nearly as good as with an angle grinder. The accuracy is also nearly as good as with the angle grinder. I will get better. There's my pencil line. Well, my chalk line. I've never used a plasma cutter in my life. An hour ago was the first time I ever pulled the trigger on one. I'm loving this. It's quieter, it's faster, it's cleaner, it's cheaper, it's just better. I wish I'd bought one years ago. Well, this little beauty's finished. I took the plastic wheels off and made some steel wheels so they won't end up as puddles on the ground the first time I use it. I've painted it with a high temperature paint, but before I painted it with a high temperature paint, I did a little bit of work inside it. The oval piece that I cut out for the window has been utilised inside as a baffle to create a secondary burn and divert more heat up into the hot plate. I'm really happy with this. Now that I've got the fire roaring with a selection of timbers from around the property, I'm ready to start cooking. I got some hash browns here straight out of the freezer. I'll put those on early so that they can thaw, and as it comes up to temperature we'll get these two steaks on. I used my temperature gun to check the temperature of the plate, and I find that I'm getting 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the perfect temperature for searing a steak. "30 to 40 seconds on each side and we're ready to go." If you like food in the outdoors, or recycling, or remaking, or rebuilding, or repurposing, or goats, you should subscribe to the channel.